Hey there, welcome back to Creepy Encounters. In today's video, me and my friend could have been kidnapped because of me. Someone plays carnival music in our yard late at night. Pervy driver ed instructor. Okay, first off, I'm no writer by any means, so sorry if grammar and such isn't correct, but this is my true story. Growing up in Malvern, Pennsylvania, I used to attend KDM Elementary School from 1 to 5 grades. At every student's 5th grade year, the school always holds a play for the entire 5th grade class, which unfortunately you have to participate in. If memory serves me well, we were split up by our different main class rooms. I'm 26 now, so it's been a while for me. Anyway, we had to make our own costumes, and lucky me, I got to make a ladybug costume. I still put flames on the shoulder pads though, lol. Sorry, back to my point. Well, when we had to practice for our final play, so we would all get in our groups at recess and learn what we needed to do for a period, and this is when I believe I also got me and my friend abducted by a pedophile. Me and my best friend Kevin, last name withheld, we would hang out at edge of the tree line where there was some pine tree that separated our school from someone who lived right next to the school, trying to stay out of it because we thought the whole thing was really stupid, to be honest. Now, the way our teacher supervised us was to kind of let us do our thing, practice our buzzing and running in circles and whatnot. I know, like I said, it was stupid. Anyway, when it was time to go in, the teachers would all blow their whistles to signal it's time to come back and go inside. So here we are chilling at the wood line, hiding out, when we hear this voice calling us, saying, hey you kid. Want to see something cool? Now, I guess I didn't have any fear of such situations, or not enough sense to notice something was wrong to think anything of it, and my friend even said, I don't like this, maybe we should go back. And I called him stupid and said that we should go see what he had to show us. After all, he said it was something cool, right? What little stupid curious kid doesn't want to see something mysteriously cool? So this guy was old, like probably 70 to 75, was wearing one of those short sleeve collared shirts, the plaid kind with those boxes to try to give you imagery. Also, I think he was wearing jeans, but it's been so long ago I just know his shirt was tucked in. So we follow this guy, Kevin, kind of slowly following me as I follow him past the pines and onto his property right. I can tell Kevin is scared because he keeps looking around and was saying that we should head back. But I really wanted to see what this guy had to show me, so I just ignored him and kept following the old man. He leads us to a shed behind his house, and I kid you not, there was one of those small red ones with the white trim, like the old school American farm style barns. He opens the door and say, go in. Look, this guy had a complete antique doll collection, and now me and my friend are standing in the middle of the shed doing a circle viewing them, and I mean, they were everywhere. It was then that this really uneasy feeling crept over me. The guy is standing in front of the doorway and says, didn't I tell you it was cool? I've been collecting them my whole life. What do you think? I figured I shouldn't be rude, so I told him it was cool, that I've never seen dolls like this before. But in that way a kid tells his grandmother he really loves the sweater she made him for the 5th year in a row, trying to be sincere but failing. Well, right after that we hear the whistle and Kevin gives me a weird look. BTW, at this point my fear is like crazy, almost like I know something bad is about to happen, and for some reason I guess what I needed to say just came to me, so I start walking to the door to leave and tell him, this was really cool, thanks for showing us. That's our whistle, we have to get back for head count, and he nodded his head and said if you ever want to come back and play with them you're always welcome, and moves aside so we can leave. I never saw him after that, and honestly forgot about it until a couple of years later when I told my dad the story, but as if nothing bad happened. We were just on a conversation topic about how much money antique dolls were, and he freaked out at me, and I realized how close I could have come. He told the school about it, but the guy's not on any registry yet. I don't think he's ever done anything, at least not that he got caught for, but it was still really weird, like who thinks 2 5th grade boys are going to find dolls interesting? I feel we only got away because I mentioned the head count the teachers do, so he thought he wouldn't be able to shut the door on us without them finding out. But yeah, that's my story. I've experienced some paranormal stuff too, I'll post when I feel like it, those ones are a lot harder to explain. I just thought about this and it has only now occurred to me how weird / gross this was, and I don't know what to do with this realization, so I thought I'd share. When I was 16 and in high school, I set out to get my license. My school didn't offer courses, so I signed up for paid classes, though a driver's ed school in my town. My teacher was a middle-aged man who would pick me up from my house after school, or sometimes from my school on my lunch hour for 1-hour classes. At first he seemed friendly enough and we would chit-chat about our lives and such. He had a family and young child. He would ask me about my BF and school life. Eventually the talk would turn weird and personal. He would prompt me for more info about my BF and our sex life, and started to make insinuations I was into freaky sex stuff. For background, as a teen I dressed pretty goth / funky and had colorful hair and piercings, and honestly dressed a lot more revealing than I would now. Don't know if that contributed to this. Like most teenage girls, I was young, Naive and awkward and unsure how to handle the situation, I was uncomfortable but didn't know how to shut the convo down and didn't want to seem rude. This went on for several sessions. Eventually I got too weirded out and uncomfortable, so when I would see him and he would try and open up the convo like this, I would shut it down and say I didn't want to talk or I just wanted to focus on driving. This would really irritate him and he would be noticeably rude/annoyed with me and often end our lessons early when I wouldn't give into these conversations. Eventually I ended the lessons because I was too uncomfortable and at that point wasn't really learning anything. I just played it off as just some weird gross guy. Most women know you will encounter quite a few in your lifetime, but only as an adult do I realize how predatory this was. I regret not saying anything to anyone about it at the time, and by now it's been many years and I don't remember any details about the person, not even his name, to be able to look into it. Moral of the story is, if you're a young girl and feel uncomfortable or take advantage of, trust your instincts, they are usually right. This is going to sound bizarre and made up, but I swear on my left nipple that this happened and there are several witnesses, even if I can't explain why someone would do this. I am fairly positive this isn't anything paranormal. I live quite a distance off the road in an unremarkable house on private property. My neighbors are all older family members who go to bed extremely early and whose children are already grown and out of the house. In summary, there are no mischief makers to play pranks on us here. A few months ago, my mother and I stayed up late one evening watching television together. Around 3 a.m., I turned the television off and decided to go to bed. As I was leaving the room, I began to hear what sounded like carnival music playing outside of my house in the front yard. It was loud and close. My mother heard it too, and immediately went to the window to investigate. She couldn't see anything but darkness. Everyone else was either asleep for the night or away on vacation. The lights were off in all their houses, and none of them would be caught dead listening to anything but country music, anyway. We were miles from the nearest city, so it wasn't the product of noise pollution. You can hear when a car has pulled up in the yard, but there was no sound of a car. The silence where we live is usually deafening. All you can hear is the ringing in your ears. Where did this song come from? Who was playing it and why? I was very unsettled by the idea of a stranger in our yard playing carnival music, as such suggests malicious intent. My father and uncle later mentioned that, 20 years ago, when my parents first moved in, the electrician had come to install a ceiling light and stopped in the middle of his work, saying he could hear Pink Floyd playing in the front yard. Neither my father nor uncle could hear it. My father is a bit hard of hearing and my uncle is much older, so they laughed it off and thought the man was insane, but the electrician was freaked out. He kept opening the door and trying to find the source of the noise to no avail. Then, it hit me, the song I'd heard that night was Pink Floyd's Cirrus Minor, the part that sounds like carnival music. I played the song for my mother and she began freaking out, saying yes. Yes. That's what I heard. Who the hell sits in my yard at night at 3 a.m. in the middle of nowhere playing the same song, which isn't even a popular song, 20 years later with no car? Where did they come from? They would have had to have walked several miles to get here. Aside from this, the only other strange thing we experienced that would suggest an intruder. We feel and hear knocking on the living room window late at night around the same hour, sometimes so intense that the entire wall of the house is rattled and it sends the couch against it into a reclining position. There are no nearby trees to trap the glass, and no animal except a human could possibly reach it. Fortunately, this has stopped over the last few weeks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more real-life creepy encounters around the world. See you in the next video. Bye.